The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection.
Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. Welcome to the Laws of Digital Design on Demand. And today's guest is Mark Jarrett, a professional networker who has a very unique networking strategy utilizing WhatsApp. Good morning, Mark Jarrett. How are you?
Good morning, America. Warm greetings from the still just United Kingdom.
Well, we always love hearing your British accent. Not to mention all the diamonds you constantly drop on us about networking. So I promised that in this particular show, we would get right down to the diamonds, right down to the details. So let's dive right into WhatsApp. As a professional networker, what is it about WhatsApp that you find to be critical?
It's ubiquity. I've been invited to give a TED talk called 2 Billion Reasons Why You Should Use WhatsApp to Network Virtually, because that's how many people use it. It's about a quarter of the world's population use WhatsApp. Practically everyone uses it here in Europe and India and elsewhere. Ironically, the one country that doesn't use WhatsApp so much is...
I don't know.
The United States of America. Only
USA.
1 in 5 Americans use WhatsApp. So I'm on a mission to make that 1 in 4. The 1 in 5 Americans that do use WhatsApp, typically they only use it when they or their friends and family are traveling overseas for the free calls and the free video calls. To me, that's a bonus. As you know, Blanca, the actual networking itself on WhatsApp takes place in WhatsApp groups, which is primarily text driven, which is why I encourage people to start using WhatsApp on their computer. If you go to web.whatsapp.com and then marry your smartphone to your computer, it's much easier that way because the keyboard and the screen on your computer is much bigger than on your smartphone. And as you know, Blanca, we stare in our smartphones too much as it is anyway.
True. I mean, it can take a toll. So you can go to web.whatsapp.com and you can connect the iPhone or the phone you're using to your computer so you can literally review the messages on a desktop, not have such a strain on the eyes. Now, tell us about the groups. I know there's hundreds, but at the highest level, what are the most popular WhatsApp groups that you currently have in your network?
Okay, so a little bit of a backstory. I used to be in the WhatsApp group of one of the UK's most prolific networkers, and I onboarded more people to that group than everyone else combined, but I was constantly removed because I can be a bit cheeky sometimes, and then on the fifth time I thought, well, why should I spend all this time and effort doing it for him? So then the Virtual International Pub was born, the VIP, which is like a virtual water cooler. It really doesn't have an agenda as such. But when you're working from home remotely, as you've learned during the pandemic, it can be quite solitary. So that's just a place to go and hang out and meet with business people and chat. But all the other 200 plus groups that I have got a theme, an industry theme. So that might be mergers and acquisitions, energy, automotive, fashion, music, mergers and acquisitions, you name it. Every industry has got a WhatsApp group.
Well, the thing that I love about your WhatsApp network is that it breaks down the niches. You know, I'm a member of what I'm passionate about. So I'm in the LinkedIn WhatsApp group. I'm in the YouTube WhatsApp group. I'm in the women WhatsApp group. There's men's, there's people from South Africa. There's different country WhatsApp groups. And so how many currently do you have in your network?
How many WhatsApp groups?
Yes.
I think it's 214.
Okay, so you actually have 214. And how many years have you been developing the vision to promote international networking through the WhatsApp group?
Since 2019. And it's a great way for US firms who want to expand internationally to do so. Over and above showing people how to use WhatsApp to the max. More importantly, I can introduce them to the kind of people to help meet their business goals almost immediately.
That's I mean, it's extraordinary. Now, was it the pandemic that inspired you to begin this vision?
No, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you will see that I wrote an article in 2018 called The Wonderful World of Virtual Networking.
Okay.
Back then it was almost more conceptual, but I've always been passionate about virtual networking because it saves a ton of time, money, and carbon, because we're not flying and driving to places. We're doing the planet a favor. We're doing our bank balance a favor. Real in-person networking is fantastic, but there are so many advantages of this virtual networking over in-person networking. For example, real in-person networking events can be quite chaotic, and some women don't feel comfortable networking that way. It's all bit crazy because everyone's networking. So actually getting the attention of people in those events can be quite difficult. But with virtual networking, you're more in control, and it's easy to have a meaningful one-on-one like we are having now, Blanca.
100%. And this friendship between Mark, Jared, and I is also a result of networking. We met through Mike Armstrong through the International Summit every Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. And we're just going to take a quick commercial break to promote tomorrow's summit. So let's take a look at that. So everybody can simply visit my Instagram, Blanca Laws of Life. Follow me on Facebook, The Laws of Life with Blanca. And you can pick up the Zoom link also on our website, lawsoflife.shop. You can also subscribe to our channel, to our platform. And by subscribing, you'll be invited to all of our events. So if it wouldn't have been for this summit, I wouldn't have become friends with you, Mark. And so, and also, by the way, Mark Siegel gives you a big shout out and says that he has just grown tremendously from knowing you. And Mark is also going to be our guest of honor at the summit tomorrow. So I guess basically the next piece that I really want to get into is what Once you're in, okay, you've downloaded the WhatsApp on your phone, you've linked it to your computer, you've gotten past the tech. Now you've joined 5 or 6 groups that appeal to what your passion is or what your business is. I've already stated what I'm a member of. What's the key to connecting textually with the connections in these WhatsApp groups? What are some tips you can share with us?
Okay, so when you join a WhatsApp group, you're going to say in writing who you are, where you live, what you do, who you would like to meet, a fun fact if you have one, or something about your private life to show your human side, and then put your LinkedIn URL at the very end. Now, I sometimes describe LinkedIn as the world's least social network because it's a bit clunky and there's a time lag in the communications. But it's an invaluable tool, not least because you can see where they went to school, where they've worked, what connections you have in common, who's recommended them. It's like an online resume. It's a great way to check people out.
Yeah,
But it's not such a good communications tool, in my opinion. So I see WhatsApp as a kind of conduit between LinkedIn and places like Zoom, Remo, or of course in person, where the real magic happens.
Interesting. All right. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's a good opening, but you still need to integrate. You need to have your LinkedIn profile updated with all of your credentials, educational background, positions held. And as to the fun fact, are we talking about hobbies or just something unusual? What's a fun fact about you, Mark Jarrett?
I launched the world's first celebrity chat line. If you go to YouTube and search for Dynastar, that was me.
Dynastar?
Yes.
Go to YouTube. All right, everybody, go to YouTube and search Dynastar. Let's see what happens. Amazing. Well, fun fact about me is that both of my parents are Romanian, and I'm the only person in my family born in America. And the truth is that it's the fun facts that make you memorable. Isn't networking also about becoming memorable? So because of your WhatsApp vision, Mark, you have become a leader in our international global networking community. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know who you are, at least in, networking entrepreneur worlds. What's the next step for you now that you've created the vision and you have 214 WhatsApp groups? I know you've also integrated to the Remo platform for more eyeball to eyeball networking. Can you educate us about Remo?
Sure. I helped launch Remo a couple of years ago before the pandemic. And I call it Zoom on steroids. You know the breakout rooms in Zoom? I describe them as virtual prisons. Because you can't work a room intuitively like you would in real life. So Remo replicates a real world networking environment with a stage, 20 tables, breakout area, etc. And it comes into itself when you've got large events, so you can just work a room. I recently, in fact, over the weekend, I set up an always open networking lounge for Linda Fisk and her Leadership Global group. It will remain open until the 31st of December 2033. So for the next 11 years, it will be just open. You can just go there anytime you want, have a one-on-one or a small group or a large group. It can accommodate over 1,000 people. So that's a great way we're all zoomed out now. And there's something called Zoom fatigue. So Remo makes a refreshing alternative to
It is a lot of fun, and you actually see the tables with people around, with spaces around the tables, and you are video conferencing in with the people that you meet, and you're going to meet a lot of new people. So now, Mark, if they want to specifically join your network of WhatsApp groups, how do they get to you?
The best way is to go to my website, which is mjconsultancy.com, EMJAY. Consultancy.com, and on there's a WhatsApp button, and if you click on that, you can just connect with me directly on WhatsApp.
All right, so you heard it. If you want to connect with Mark Jarrett, you want to download the WhatsApp, and you can do that either by going to his website, mjconsultancy.com, and then going to his individual WhatsApp account, letting him know that you saw him here on the Laws of Digital Design or the Laws of Life, or just say Blanca sent you, and he'll know, because we're all connected. We're all entrepreneurs elevating and supporting one another. And then Mark will guide you through the process of finding the WhatsApp groups that are working for you, what the right niche is for you, what your vision is. So whatever your dream is, it takes people, it takes all of us helping one another. So Mark, have you seen any interesting success stories as a result of people using WhatsApp? Anything cool happen lately?
Yes, if you look at the testimonials on my LinkedIn, you'll see that like, for example, a US businessman called Ernest wrote, "There are select people in this world that choose to serve and help others as a priority. Mark is one of those select few. He is a networking and business opportunity rainmaker with extraordinary global outreach that can assist almost anyone in business. As a US business owner, I have found his services invaluable. In less than 2 months, he has introduced me to a global network of high quality individuals in and around my industry that would have taken me years to accumulate, if ever." There's an example of how I help. I mean, at the end of the day, business boils down to people and trust. So what I've done is created an enormous ecosystem where people feel safe to engage with one another, and then the business comes later.
That is so true. It's all about trust and getting to know, like, and trust one another and support.
And taking an interest in people. Networking is like opening a bank account. You cannot make a withdrawal until you make a deposit. So it's about helping, paying it forward.
Wow, that is such a beautiful law of networking. I mean, you cannot make a deposit, you cannot make a withdrawal until you make a deposit. So you have to serve, you have to give, and you have to listen. You really have to listen to the visions of others, and not just with this goal of immediately selling and trying to push your vision on others. So it's a delicate dance, and it takes time to build the trust. So first, what would you say are the phases? Because I know there's a lot of people out there. I want to sell. How do we slow that down and maybe break this process down into phases? So they go into the WhatsApp group. They put a fun fact. Then someone says, "Oh, okay, Blanca, I'm from Romania too." What's the next step? What should I do next after somebody responds?
Well, in that particular case, you would ask him or her, which part of Romania are you from, and build dialogue and the relationship that way. When you first join a WhatsApp group, at first it will be quite confusing because all you see is a long list of telephone numbers. But as you get to know these people and who they are, you then go and tell your phone to add that number to your contacts and give them the name, and then they will appear as a name and not a number. It does take time. We're dealing about human beings here, and some people love networking this way, but it can be quite chaotic. It's not for everyone. And I always tell people, if you wake up in the morning and you see like 100 missed messages, don't panic, don't try and backpedal, just dip in and out when you're of a chatty disposition. And if people pay me to network for them, because I run a networking concierge service, because a lot of people hate networking and most people just don't have the time. So I can network for them. And if I do that, then if something relevant comes up in any of the groups, I take a screenshot and send that to them privately.
I think that's well. Let's dig a little deeper. When we come back, we're gonna find out how you can hire your own networking representative, saving you hours of time on the relationship building process. But let's take a quick look and keep on celebrating the new Laws of Life Roku channel. We'll be right back. So I want to remind everyone that you can learn about all the shows like today's shows, events, networking summits tomorrow, free digital courses, paid digital courses, all by visiting the lawsoflife.shop or by simply subscribing to Clubhouse on Camera /subscribe, or follow me on any of my social media channels like The Laws of Life with Blanca or on Instagram. And everything that I've accomplished in the last 2 years is really a result of networking, and also having been an entrepreneur for 30 years and having formed several multi-million-dollar brands. I will tell you that my number one law of life to building your brand is networking. And that's the reason I'm here with Mark Jarrett, who is a professional networker. He's created over 200 WhatsApp groups designed to allow entrepreneurs from around the world to network. And he himself also provides concierge services. So tell me a little bit more about that in this segment, Mark. Tell me, all right, let's say I'm a personal injury attorney, hypothetically. And I want to build more relationships. So when people do, God forbid, have a car accident, they think of me. I work for the Marecki Law Firm, our diamond sponsor. How could the Marecki Law Firm hire you to help them network so that, God forbid, when someone does have a car accident, they're going to call Tim Marecki? How does that work?
Okay, first I would take a thorough brief from the client to establish exactly the perfect avatar of their dream client or ideal referral. Then I will seek out through my network the kind of people for whom that might be relevant. Now, that might be direct referrals from my network, or it might be friends of friends. As you know, Blanca, networking, you've got this domino effect where, it's the people who know the people that you want to engage with. So it will be a combination. And then I share the LinkedIn profile of the individual that I've found, just in case they already know them, which is pretty unlikely. And then I set up a 3-way meeting. On that meeting, I break the ice, make the introduction, and then walk away. I've done my job then. So
Okay.
it's like a business introduction service.
Well, let me tell you that is really important, because after being a networker myself for 30 years, I can tell you that the warm introduction is the most powerful. I'm talking about one good friend introducing another. So, like my good friend Brian Spector introducing me to Mark Siegel. Mark is now a friend for life. My good friend Mike Armstrong introducing me to you. That personalized introduction is clutch in opening doors to creating a business relationship.
Yeah, you've just described two super connectors, and I've since engaged with about another 10 or so super connectors, and I'll share those with you.
Great.
Because it just makes sense for people like us to join forces, and
Yeah,
that way,
yeah.
our networks grow exponentially.
I would love that. Nothing would, I mean, bring them to the summit tomorrow. Have them come and network on Zoom, or if you want, I'll meet them one-on-one, each one separately for 1 hour. Because if they're a super connector, I want to spend time with them. And that's the other law of life. Spend time getting
Yes.
to know the super connectors, right?
Right.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you ever get tired or burnt out from all the networking? And how do you deal with it?
Absolutely, yes. Between Christmas and New Year, every day feels like a Sunday. And that was a good time to take a digital detox, because all this digital noise that we're surrounded with isn't good for your mental and physical health. So that's why it's important to get out, go for a walk, connect with nature, play tennis like you do, and get away from it all. Otherwise, you'll just go crazy.
Absolutely. So what's your passion? What do you like to do for fun when, mine is pickleball. What do you do to keep yourself entertained when you're not?
I'm surrounded by incredible English countryside around here. That it's absolutely stunning. So I like going for long walks.
Ooh, that's nice. One of these days you got to take the cell phone and we got to stream you walking. We got to take a walk together and do a walking interview while we're both walking. I'll be in Boca Raton and you'll be in the English countryside.
Sounds good. I'm just organizing right now a net walking event in Brighton on the 4th of February. And that's just beautiful in its simplicity. You get a group of human beings together and they walk and they talk. That way you're getting fresh air, you're getting exercise. And when a group of human beings walk together as a group, intuitively, they always have a one-to-one. You're going to meet everyone in that group at some stage during that networking.
I love it. So let me ask you a question. So it's called net walking. Is that what you're calling it? You should really trademark that. That's a really great name. So this is going to, that's brilliant. What a brilliant name. And that's going to be in Brighton, England on January, what?
February the 4th at high noon.
February the 4th at high noon. Are we going to be having tea and crumpets as well?
Of course.
Are we? Goodness, I wish I had a private jet. I would fly in for the netwalking event. So any chance of you going live during the netwalking event and streaming this experience?
Well, no, because as part of the fact that I'm constantly online when I'm here, I think I will switch my phone off.
You're going to just enjoy the people in front of you and just get to know them.
Exactly, because there's an enormous paradox with smartphones. They're killing off the communications that matter the most, and that's human connections.
You're so right about that. You know what?
Yeah.
Enjoy it, but take some good pictures, share with us, and anyone in the Brighton, England area, February 4th at high noon. Join Mark Jarrett's WhatsApp group. Be sure to follow him on his website, mjconsultancy.com. He is a professional networker. And I think Tim Marecki, the personal injury law firm in the state of Florida, I'm definitely going to tell him about you as a Diamond sponsor. Let's take a look at Tim's commercial and we'll be right back. to give a big shout out to Tim Marecki, a diamond sponsor of the Laws of Life platform. Tim is a licensed attorney in the state of Florida, practicing the areas of personal injury and real estate law. He's been a sponsor of the platform for 2 years. I also want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Laws of Life platform and take a quick look at these benefits of subscribing. So I really am asking everyone out there to subscribe. It's free to subscribe to the Laws of Life platform for the opening level, which is to get events, shows on the schedule, and to have access to our free digital course every Wednesday night at 5:00 p.m. So Mark, when we talk about WhatsApp, I know it's good to have a LinkedIn strategy. It's good to have an updated LinkedIn. What other technical apps are you a fan of? I know we've talked about Remo. Is there anything else in your digital toolkit that you love?
Yes, I'm actually launching a program where it's a 6-week program comprising of 6 one-hour sessions, one-on-one with me, to teach people how to network virtually. So week 1 will be WhatsApp. Week 2 will be Twitter, where I can share Twitter lists that I've built and curated. Week 3 will be Clubhouse. Week 4 will be LinkedIn. And week 5, I will be sharing all the wonderful networks that you and I are part of, so that people know how to start, most people haven't even heard of virtual networking. And if they have, they just do not know where to start. So if they take my program, I can hold their hand and teach them how to become a virtual networking goddess or god.
I love it. I mean, that sounds like an amazing course. When is that slated to start?
Well, it started.
Oh, it started. Okay.
Yes.
And can we find that info on your website and get into that class?
It will go live on virtualpowernetworking.com soon.
Okay, wonderful. So we look forward to learning more about that course. Now, is there a place, so the best place to connect with you, Mark, is on LinkedIn. Now let's talk about Clubhouse. Clubhouse being the audio app where it's been pretty much the rage. A lot of us in the global international networking community have been opening up rooms on Clubhouse on a regular basis. What's your review of this app?
So a lot of people really were keen that I get onto Clubhouse. I'm an Android user, so I was late to the party because it was Apple only for many months. And because I've got kind of an addictive personality, I was worried that I might end up like some people, spend 8-9 hours a day on Clubhouse. Happy to report I didn't go down that road. And I just dip in and out now. When it's just nice knowing that there's a kind of always open environment where you can just go and meet interesting new people. And the caliber of people in Clubhouse is quite high.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was on it extensively last year. It did help me build my Instagram following to over just about 4,000. It helped me create relationships. But again, my law is very similar to yours, is that we have to make a deposit. We have to give value. And this is one of the reasons why I think it is so powerful to have your own podcast, to have your own webcast, because it's the perfect way to give and to get to know someone. You can invite people onto your own show, just like I've invited Mark onto Digital Design on Demand, and drop diamonds of wisdom. At the same time, building rapport with your guest, developing the friendship, developing the relationship. And look what came out of this conversation. Mark Jarrett said, there's more super connectors for me to meet. That's a breakthrough. That's an amazing development. I'm so excited about it. And so if you do want to have your own webcast or your own podcast, DM me, drop me a comment, let me know, and I can make that happen because that's what Laws of Life does. We help create shows. And the other thing that's great about networking is that people start memorizing what you do. So what do you want to be remembered for in the entrepreneurial community? You've got your WhatsApp groups. You are a professional networking concierge. You have a course on how to network. Is there anything else in the Mark Jarrett platform that could benefit our viewers and listeners?
So if people want to just join my WhatsApp group ecosystem and network on their own steam, then I've got a gold, silver, bronze package based on how many groups they want to join. So for 10 groups, it's £10, £10, but it's non-committal. It's pay to play, and the top package is all groups for £49 a month.
Okay, amazing. So very reasonable amounts to be part of the WhatsApp platform. To take the course, there is a fee. You can visit Mark's website and connect with Mark to learn about that. Obviously, there's a fee to hire him as a professional networking concierge. And on average, going back to the networking concierge, how many intros do you think could happen a week if you were to be hired by a company? What's the average?
Well, it really depends. If someone asks me to reach out to life coaches, I mean, that's really low hanging fruit. I know hundreds. But if they want me to reach out to a procurement specialist at a multi-million-dollar corporation, that's much more work for me and it will take longer.
Okay.
So it really depends on what the client is looking for.
All right, that sounds absolutely extraordinary, and I'm really excited about it. You've got my brain now clicking because I'm at a point with with life where I do want to utilize my team members for as many things as I can because there is only so much time in the day, and it's important to delegate what you may not have the time to do. So how many hours generally do you bill by the hour for the networking concierge service? Is it an hourly thing?
No, it's a monthly thing.
Okay, so it's a monthly retainer, and then you just sort of seek out who they want to meet.
Yes, and then they've got access to me all day, every day.
All right, shifting gears to the Twitter conversation. I have not, I mean, I stream to Twitter, I post on Twitter, but I have not really dug deep on Twitter. What's your experience? How can it help us?
Well, of course, your former president was a poster boy for Twitter. It's like with the virtual net. If you were to spend all day tomorrow on Twitter and really engage with people and use the hashtags to find subjects that interest you, start following lots of people and engaging with people, you will get results. But it's just time. It's just like with the WhatsApp groups. If you join a WhatsApp group and don't say anything, not much will happen. But if you take the time and effort to engage on Twitter, on WhatsApp, or on LinkedIn, you will get results. But it's just expending that time that's the key thing.
What's the number one thing if an investor were to give you $1 million today, and you were required to invest it into your platform, what would you spend it on?
Advertising, I guess, marketing, bidding on keywords like networking. That would be, I guess, where the main spend would be.
And what inspired you to become the professional networker that you are today? What's the why behind who you are today?
because I've been connecting people all my life. I've actually created human beings with my Cupid playing antics. One of them is now 24 years old. And I had an epiphany moment a few years back where I thought I'm going to do what I love doing professionally. And because I spent most of my career in telecoms, with the logos and ringtones, I was first to market, and the chat line. Of course, WhatsApp is telecoms related. So in a way, I'm still doing what I've been doing for most of my career, and that's value added telecommunications.
I love it. And tell us a little bit about what's life in England like. What's a typical day like in your life?
Well, like most people, I've been not going out as much as I used to. I used to have a meeting in London, which is about 1 hour from me, once a week. I've cut right down on that because everyone's cut back on virtual working now. More and more people are working from home. But I'm delighted to report that tomorrow lunchtime at noon, I'm meeting someone in the real world again. And as we come out of the pandemic, more and more in-person events and meetings will take place.
That's wonderful. Well, any what is your number one law of life in the networking category?
That's what I shared with you earlier on about the bank account.
Okay. What's your second number? Give us some more. Give us some more diamonds. Give us a few more tips to take us into 2022 as we wrap. A few more strategy ideas on how to be the best networker we can be.
Success is a journey, not a destination. And by the way, my end goal is to be able to introduce anyone to anyone. That's what my end goal is.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Tell us more. Any more tips? Any more? End goal is to. So you basically want to know the whole world is what I hear from that statement.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed, but in the quality of the people coming through now into the network is off the charts, because good people beget good people. So I'm in awe of my network. Absolutely outstanding.
Well, I really do want to acknowledge you, Mark. You're a visionary, and you have really been an example and a leader in our international networking community with over 214 WhatsApp groups, digital course on how to network, private concierge services on networking. You have taken networking to the next level.
A new one was born this morning.
A new one. Who's
Yes.
that? Tell us.
The metaverse.
Okay.
As you know, Facebook have changed their name to, is it Meta or Meta?
I think it's Meta.
Okay, so yeah, the metaverse is going to be the next big thing. I met a metaverse expert this morning, and she inspired me to create a WhatsApp group all about the metaverse.
Oh, wow. Well, if she'd like to come on Digital Design on Demand and talk about metaverse and educate us, since it's such a new concept, and give us the behind the scenes, that would be extraordinary. I'd love to meet her.
Great.
All right. Well, Mark, thank you for being our guest today on the Laws of Digital Design on Demand. I'm your host, Blanca, reminding you to watch us here every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern and to join us tomorrow for the summit. We also have Sunny's Meditation in Delray Beach tonight at 6 o'clock, as well as the Global Vision Conference this Saturday in West Palm Beach. Everybody stay fired up. Keep studying your digital apps. Keep self-educating. Keep learning. And have a fired up day. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.